All of Ralph's early days was back in Louisiana. That's where he was born.
He was a happy, happy baby. He became more pleasant, it seemed, the older he got.
He was a very outspoken kid. He'd speak up, tell just what he was thinking. I would give him some information. He said, "Dad, why are you telling me something I already know?" We went to the country a lot. He learned about that and a lot of animals down there. And I remember one day, several people were trying to catch a horse to ride him, and nobody could catch that horse. They couldn't catch him. The horse would run away. And Ralph walked out there, and the horse came right up to him, just walked up to him. Ralph caught the horse. The horse trusted him. And that was something I think that really went through life with Ralph. He had that same effect on people.
Growing up, Bionica was pretty brilliant, and I could tell she was going to be very smart.
Just a nice little girl, sometime.
She always meddled, so I had to beat her up all the time. She let me beat her up, but I think I could really whoop her.
She was one of my favorites growing up.
She loved to play baseball. She loved to roller skate. A little bit of basketball. Couldn't dance that well.
She's very nice, fast.
I was proud to have a niece that was that special to me.
She turned out a really wonderful person.
I remember when Ralph was about 12 years old and a snowstorm came through Kansas City. Ralph went out the door. He came back about 45 minutes later and he had $60 in his hand. And I said, "Ralph, where'd you get that money?" He said, "Well, I went down the street and I shoveled some of the neighbors' driveways." I thought, oh my God, this kid is gonna be an entrepreneur.
He was about 19. He had gotten a taste of being in landscape and sprinkler. Then he contracted painting, and then he contracted tree trimming. And when he got into the swimming pool plats and pools, he said, "Dad, I like this better than everything else. I think this is what I'm gonna stay with." He grew his business from nothing. He did all on his own. I'm proud to be his father.
I think he's a fine young man. Industrious and a hard worker. He's a good businessman. If I wasn't this old, I might work for him.
So, how did we meet? Well, we were on a college campus. You know, here she is, this bright-eyed freshman, lost, looking for her classes. And we bump into one another. Books go everywhere. I mean, her books are on the ground, so I'm the only one nice enough to help out. We both crouch down actually at the same time, start picking up the books, and we make eye contact. And then from there, you know, one thing.
Stop.
Okay, that didn't really happen.
That's a lie. So, how we really met was at church. We were at some musical, and I was in the choir stand. He had his horn up there in the choir stand, and he was.
It wasn't just a horn; it was a saxophone.
Oh, his saxophone. And I remember I noticed he was cute, but that was that for me.
Right. Shortly after that, I started kind of going to church services that I knew she was going to be at more.
You were stalking me. Okay.
Not really. But after that was all over, that's when I actually think I pursued her and asked her for her phone number. Do you remember what I said?
Yeah, I think you were like, "My name's Ralph. You think we could keep in touch?" Now, I don't remember even how you asked me, like, after we met, how long we talked after that, but we did have our first date at Applebee's on 63rd Street in Raytown, which is now Quick Trip.
Yeah.
And we actually had a third wheel on our first date, who has, over the years, become a third wheel on a lot of our dates.
Well, I have no problem really being a third wheel if I really want to go somewhere. I went, just to make sure my cousin was okay.
And I finally realized that she was there to beat me up if something went wrong.
So, as most people know, we both had a kid when we met. Mara was 2 and Ralph was 3. What drew me to him and to be like, oh my God, was the way that he took care of his kid. And I had never experienced like a young dad, like really doing what a dad was supposed to do. And the fact that he loved the Lord and he was like really into church and everything.
For me, she was attractive. She's still attractive, of course.
Yes.
But one of the things that really drew me to her was how well and how much attention and energy she put into being a mother. And I felt like if she was putting that much energy and cared that much about her child, that there was possibly some hope for me.
So I get a phone call at work one day from Ralph, and he says, "Mom, I got somebody I want you to meet. It's a girlfriend, and I'm gonna bring her to church." First of all, I thought, she is so pretty. Who is this little girl? Where did he find her at?
For some reason, I really didn't know him, but I still thought that Ralph would be a good person for Bionica. I thought Ralph was, a really good, cool guy. He seemed really cool. He acted older than what he really was, so he kind of reminded me of a pawpaw.
Got a dry, dead joke that he can tell at any given moment. And them dancing skills are the absolute worst.
It was literally like, he was here. I'm like, oh, hey. She's like, this is Ralph. This is my boyfriend.
So everything's going well, and then we won't get into the details, but at some point we kind of like broke up.
And then all of a sudden, he was missing. I'm like, well, where did he go?
They had a little breakup, and I was kind of sad about it because I wanted her to be with Ralph.
He just showed up one day, and then he was gone for a little while, and then he was back. And he's not left since he came back.
Valentine's Day 2001, we went on our second first date.
They got back together, and I was so happy.
Next thing I know, they are talking about possibly getting married one day.
I just knew deep down in my heart he would be a good husband to her.
By this point, we already knew we were getting married. We'd gone ring shopping, picked that out. It was just kind of awkward just because we already were so certain that we were getting married. So when the time came to actually propose, I think I was on my way down to get on one knee, and she did just what she just did right now, just laugh. But I asked her to marry me, and she said yes, and then we got married.
We got married on my grandpa's birthday, September 22nd.
I saw some pictures of them at a hotel. They just went and got married one day.
Now, the first ceremony, I was just a witness, and we had a ceremony in a hotel room, and I thought that was marvelous.
We got married at the Hyatt Crown Center. And then after everybody left, we had our first, what we thought was like the fancy gourmet dinner, yeah.
And I don't think it's even in business anymore, but it was at the Peppercorn Duck Club, which was downstairs in that Hyatt hotel.
Yeah. In between us getting married at the hotel, we started planning our wedding, which was going to be exactly 1 year to the day on September 22nd, our 1 year anniversary. So we had our wedding here at the Loretto.
It was her special day, and Ralph did a great job with letting her kind of take the reins and do what she wanted.
Because we were already married, we did all our pictures early that day, so it wasn't like, oh, we can't see each other. We just got ready, did the pictures. The wedding started at 6 o'clock, I think, 6 or 7. There was like a musical at our church, so everybody after church came to the wedding.
Truthfully, in the back of my mind, I was hoping that I would be the one to give her away. And just so happens, within a week's time, she called me and said, "Uncle Wayne, could you give me away?" I said, "Oh yeah, I'd be happy to." It was a great experience for me because I really love my niece, Bionica. I mean, she's a really special person in my heart.
I almost brought me into tears when she called and said, "Can you officiate?" Because my dad was still a pastor. So normally you would ask the pastor. But when she asked me, it was such an honor. I said, "What I need to wear? I'm ready. Let's go."
And then we went on our honeymoon. We went on a cruise. Again, Rachel's always involved in everything.
She was actually our chauffeur to take us to the airport.
It was pretty late, and I had to take them all the way out to a hotel by the airport.
So we had fun on the cruise, but when we got back, Rachel had a little story for us.
It was already late. I'm not sure if I was half asleep and was just trying to hurry up and get in the house and get Anaya in the house, and forgetting to lock the doors, and somebody broke in the van that night and stole the radio. So I had to explain that to them once they came back off their honeymoon.
Another exciting part of this marriage has been when it comes around an anniversary, and that's because we love to travel, so we're always somewhere that is not Kansas City.
Well, we talked about the first year anniversary when we got married. We went on a cruise, and we had so much fun on that cruise.
That we went back the next year.
The next year, taking a big group with us.
All I know is I look up, they all packed up, ready to go, and I'm not included. So I'm like, wait a minute, where are y'all going?
Some of our more memorable trips after that have been Lake Tahoe. I'm not an outdoors person, but we went to the Grand Canyon.
Yeah.
Hawaii.
We hiked up a mountain.
Hiked a mountain in Hawaii.
Abandoned volcano / waterfall.
We wrote our names on a shrimp truck in Hawaii. And then about 5 years later, we tried to go back and find it, but our names weren't there. Probably the last most memorable trip would be New York, because we crammed in like everything you could do in the days we were there. The biggest highlight was definitely
we got to see
seeing Hamilton. That was like, it was crazy. Like, we went to Broadway. There's this group of ladies that are like super supportive of our marriage, so much so that they've gone on trips with us, have gone on dates with us as well. And usually Rachel's behind it. They are, of course, my cousin Rachel, Miss Third Wheel, my sister Tamika, Camise, Gina, Christina, and then there is an honorary member to our Taco Tuesday crew. She lives in Las Vegas, and that is my best friend in the whole wide world.
Hi, I'm Tiffany. I'm the best friend. How did Bionica and I meet? We met Kansas City, Missouri, Eastwood Hills in 4th grade.
So that's our crew. We do everything together, but Ralph knows when we get together, he's gonna eat good that day.
Yeah.
Of course, everybody knows we have 3 kids, 2 grandkids. Kind of earlier in the marriage, I mean, we were young parents, so there was some rough times, like trying to figure out how to be parents and how to be husband and wife and how to be adults when we still were kind of kids ourselves. So I know our kids always talk about
every Sunday before church, they would have like a tiny argument, just a little tiny about nothing. And one day, Mom had a red string on her shoulder, and Dad just like got it off, but she got upset because he touched her, but she didn't know why he touched her, and then it became a long thing, and we missed all of church that Sunday. But they were, good right after.
It seemed like every Sunday. Just when we were getting ready to go to church.
We kind of had to grow up as we were trying to raise our kids. So of course we know we didn't do everything right, but we did as good as we could with what we had.
Growing up with our parents, they kind of were there at like everything and supported whatever we wanted to do, even if we changed what it is we wanted to do.
Yeah, they started off doing cheerleading. I did karate. I grew out of karate. I wasn't gonna be like Jackie Chan, so we stopped doing that.
We were all pretty involved in a lot of activities and sports, and they were there for everything.
We just want them to thrive and enjoy the best that life has to offer.
We want them to be successful, learn from our example of hard work and striving towards goals. Like when you have children, it makes you want to hit those goals even more, to give them something and to leave something behind.
People like to tell me that I get my bossiness from my mother. I think I get my organization skills from my mom.
I think I get a trait from my dad is like being like easily motivated to like just go out there and get it.
They are very, very great grandparents, very involved grandparents. What type of places does Yanni take you to?
She takes me to some kind of party or something.
What kind of party?
Maybe taking people's car.
Yeah, I take people's cars.
Where do y'all take them?
Both of you.
Oh, our cars?
Yeah.
Oh, like you take our cars to get to the
party. Yeah, because our car's not working.
If you could describe your parents in one word, it would be?
Definitely goofy. Caring.
Creative.
Married.
When we get together as a family, it is a crazy time.
And I would say it's Mari's fault.
We're just goofy. We like to have a good time, you know. My dad definitely can get the party started, you know. He definitely has some moves for you.
At least for now, Mari's learning some of her dance moves from Dad, but we're working on that, you know.
Aside from our kids, we do have, I say a few godkids, but I'll go from oldest to youngest. Josiah, Chloe, Layla, and then we have CJ. And I have a few, I would almost call them like god grandkids, because my cousins that I help raise, who are now like my sister, brother, cousins, they have children, and I just like have taken to their children like they're my own. So those are kind of just a special few people that we wanted to mention. We have close relationships with that are like kind of close to our marriage.
Our outlook on marriage, we think it's a beautiful thing, of course. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here celebrating 20 years. And we just thank you all for all your support. I think about all the generations to come and how our actions and our example have a tendency and the potential to impact that in more ways than we even know.
You know, I know it's cliche to say they're a power couple. Well, I sincerely believe they are a God power couple.
He picked a nice girl and she picked a nice man.
I'm extremely happy for them and proud of them for being on this journey this long, especially since they started the journey at a very young age.
I view them as an example of what marriage and union should be.
I view them as the best couple ever. I love Bionica and Ralph. Hands down, they are funny. They are hilarious. They are loving. They're a model.
If there's any couple that is an example for other couples, they are 100% that couple. And I believe it's because of their life with Christ.
I view them as the Beavers. They're like the traditional all-American black couple. When you see them, it's kind of like, you know, the picture perfect family.
From the outside looking in, it is picture perfect to me. I just love them to death.
I see them look like they're working together to do what they need to do to make a home and a family.
I think they are a couple to look up to. They are an inspiration to me. Again, I think you guys are beautiful and I love you.
Marriage at times can be difficult, and they have made this journey that they're on seem fairly easy.
I love them. They work well together. They complement each other. I think they were probably one of the last couples to get married, and they're the last one standing.
Most couples, young and old, can learn from them. They're really good people. And I'm proud of them that they made it 20 years.
A lot of people want to get married. They want the ceremony, but they're not prepared for the actual marriage that comes after the big party. Our focus has been on what marriage really is about, and that's those vows you took to each other and to God, and like making sure that you are committed to those. We took this marriage and we've put all that we could into it, whether it's investing money, time, like whether we've gone to like retreats or marriage counseling. Here we are 20 years later, and you know, it's still good. It's still like real good.
So after all the highs and lows, ups and downs of 20 years of being married, would you do it all over again?
Good to you, Mr. and Mrs. Ralph Jackson.
Well, congratulations.
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 Congratulations on your 20 years.
Here's to another 20 plus years.
20 more. Or 200 more, or
What?
2,000.
I wish you another million years of happiness.
I love you.
Love you both. Love you very much.
Love you.
Congrats, Yanni and Popples, for their little marriage.
That's not what I said.
That's like a little marriage.